I don't even know what time zone I'm in. We came in from Melbourne last night, and the day before we were in Phoenix, and tomorrow we're going to Hawaii, and the day after that we're going to New York, and 2 days later in London. So if you're a startup, this is part of the reality of going around. Can we show my screen here? I want to tell you what has worked for us that we have done hundreds of times that's worked on Facebook. Because a lot of people think of Facebook as some place where you're posting silly photos, but I want to show you, is it the red pill or the blue pill in the Matrix? The one where you actually get flushed down the toilet and you see what's going on. I want to show you how it actually works to use Facebook for Inception, right? You know the movie Inception, where you have the dream, inside the dream, inside the dream? This is what we're talking about. Because as a startup, it doesn't matter whether you're B2C or B2B, you're ultimately B2B to C, because you've got to influence other people. It could be your investors, it could be a community, it could be a conference, it could be whatever it is. So I'm going to show you a series of tools and techniques that are all free, with the exception of spending what we call $1 a day. I'm using Facebook Signal, and I want to identify where we have the strongest signals of, well, it's called Signal, of what I want to be able to promote, because I want to be able to not necessarily deceive or be Machiavellian, but I want to be able to, as a startup, with my limited dollars, by spending just $1 or $2, be able to create maximum effect with minimum input. So I can see here, StartCon posted this on Facebook. There's other things that are going on. This is great. I might want to go a little bit further. And let's say that my goal was, well, we have a bunch of professional sports teams, right? Like the Golden State Warriors that we do Facebook marketing for. And maybe we have an article that's published on the American Marketing Association, if you're a marketer, and it talks about how we drove a 30x ROAS for Facebook, meaning, for the Warriors. Put $1 in, get $30 of revenue back, right? Proof, point after point after point after point, right? Not a case study, not something where the Warriors are saying, oh, you know, these guys are incredible, but actually showing how we do it. Just like if you've got that one sheet or the guide, that's actually how you do it, following these techniques. There's nothing to be sold here, right? Now, if you've got something like this, you want to be able to find where you're getting the most power. And you can search on Twitter, you can search on these other tools, but I'll give you some of these examples. You can go to any third-party site, and one of my favorite plugins is the CrowdTangle plugin. Oh, what happened to it here? Is it hidden here? There it is. It's free. It's a Chrome plugin. And I can see for any one of these articles that we post on any other site, maybe we get a mention on, you know, Y Combinator or what have you, where the interactions are coming from. So this one came from Twitter, from Mari Smith, and I've got 33 likes and 14 shares. And if you're a startup, you've got to be able to find these people that are influential and to be reciprocal. When you say thank you to these people or they mention you, you want to be able to reply to them, thank you so much, can I quote you on that? And then you stick that into your content library, or then you boost that to make yourself look a little bit bigger. So you can see I'm on Twitter, I've got a blue check mark, which helps a little bit. It makes you look more credible. And you can see the different things that people are saying. If you find something where it could be a customer, an investor, someone saying something good about you, that's an opportunity for you to be able to boost it, right? Because we're here actually at the Search Marketing Summit, speaking, workshops, that whole thing, right? These are all people that you should be looking at to see, not just from a social media monitoring standpoint, but where are you getting the most power? Because as a startup, you want your customers, your clients, your partners to do the work for you. It's like Fight Club. You don't talk about it. You don't talk about yourself. When you talk about yourself, like I'm doing now, you look like you are self-serving and bragging and not being very humble, right? But you want to, you know, get famous. You want to sell more, whatever it is that you sell, right? Now, how do you do that on Facebook? You should have a public figure page. So if I do a search for one of my friends, I have admin on all these things. You would not believe how many things I have admin on. So we're using Business Manager, and this is not your profile. As a user profile, you have friends. Right? As a public figure page, a particular category of page that you should make to amplify your personal brand. You have fans, and you've got analytics, you've got all this stuff that shows up here. And Isaac, just a few weeks ago, he filmed a video in his bathroom, 1-minute video. We're big fans of 1-minute videos. Have you guys seen this video? No, he's gotten 70 million views. Some people have, right? 70 million views, almost all organic. And you can see the dark orange, we've boosted it. But we're not boosting to just anybody. And this is not a big brand boost to get more likes or something like that. We're targeting particular users. And in this case here, we want to know, is this video doing well? You should be producing video all the time, 1-minute videos. Not Facebook Live. I know a lot of people talk about that. 1-minute videos, not about yourself. I mean, you could, but interviewing other people that are authoritative because you want to boost to their audience. You want them to share that audience, and then you want to boost to that audience. And the way you know if it's working is if you look at the post, you want to see a 50% view-through rate. I have 200,000 reach. I need at least 100,000 to be able to view it. And then of those, I need 50% to convert from a 3-second view to a 10-second view. That's how you know you're going viral. You want to look at how long people are watching. So if I come over here to the video, the average time on Facebook is 6 seconds for a video. It's terrible. It's decreasing. If you can get something up in the 15, 20-second range, this is actually pretty good. It's fallen. It started out, I think, at 40, 50 seconds. Then you've got a winner, and you want to be able to boost it. Now, in this case here, he's making this video, and then we're boosting it to Ellen and the New York Times and CNN and all these other places because we want to get media pickup, right? So we're targeting people who work at these places. This is the thing that almost everybody misses. And you'll see other things. This guy, he speaks at conferences. He runs all the personal brands at GoDaddy. So this includes the CEO, all their executives. So if anybody needs to show what personal branding is, it's got to be this guy. He's got a why video talking about, oh, when I was this age, this thing happened to me, kind of like a motivational speaker track where you know, I was going to commit suicide, but then I had this journey and now I'm successful, and therefore I want to teach you this thing or sell you a course or get you to sign up for something, right? You know, the whole I am crowd thing, right? But don't do that. Use the same framework. Just, it's you know, hate the player, not the game, right? It's the technique that works. So if I scroll through here on this page, you should create a public figure page. Don't say, oh, but I'm not trying to be famous, or I'm not really known for anything, I don't have time, or I don't have any money. There's all the excuses, just like for not exercising. So we can see here, like he's speaking at conferences, right? These all seem to show authority, right? He's speaking at another conference, he's with someone who's famous, we're boosting all these things, he's with another person. Anytime someone's got a book, it's usually because they're trying to go famous, it's a new business card. You never want to read that thing. You just want them to endorse you, so you endorse them, and that kind of thing. So let me show you. Don't go too crazy. Let's see, Love What Matters. This has got 500,000 views. Let me go a little bit further. This is only not even a month old. And I've got hundreds of these examples just to show you this is not a fluke. And more importantly, examples of other people that have used these same techniques. $1 a day against 1-minute videos. And then here's how you tune it. Every startup has to be able to do this. Look, it got translated into Chinese for the China Times. Let me show you one that's really powerful. A couple of them that are powerful. Medieval Times, they saw that. They made a reaction video. There, don't miss my session at this other place. Here's BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed took this video, right? Didn't really take any time to plan it. Almost 10 million views. And now this guy, he goes to the supermarket or he's out in the at a restaurant, or people come up to him. He can't go out in public because people want to take selfies with him. That's what it's like for this guy. He's like legitimately internet famous. I think it's amazing. And he's also made 1-minute videos talking about how he does this. Look, Ellen, right? So when you have something like this, here's Lad Bible, 5 million views. Now when you boost it, we boost all day long. You want to see for $1 a day for 7 days, so you're spending $7. And 7 Australian dollars is like 5 US dollars. It's like cheap. It's almost nothing. The minimum's $1 a day you can spend. So I'd almost want to change the currency to Australian dollars just so I can spend less. Now here I can switch this boost, and I can target Social Media Examiner. Maybe I'm speaking at Social Media Marketing World, right? And I want to switch all those things to that conference that we're going to be presenting at. I can switch all these. I can edit them. I can change them. That's the beauty. I can iterate over time. Or even better, I can have this one that we call the Mega Media Inception Global one. You should make your own. It only takes 2 minutes. These are all the people, if you can see this, that work at Ellen and ABC News and the Kansas Star, all these different places, CBS, New York Post, right? Who is it that you want to influence by where they work? Because then their audience becomes your audience. All your audience belong to us, right? This is Inception. This is the dream inside the dream inside the dream. Think about, make that list that you're going to have in a saved audience. Stick that inside your ads account that sits inside your business manager. Have your remarketing tags from Facebook, Google, Twitter, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you can target by workplace too, right? And have that sit inside your tag manager on Google. That's your plumbing. That's the first phase of these 6 phases. But you've got to have this plumbing set up properly for everything else sequentially to happen. So now I'm inside the Golden State Warriors. That's a basketball team. A lot of people don't know that. So here are these audiences. So what are we doing for the Golden State Warriors? Well, we're trying to sell tickets. So we're going to incept all the people at Sports Illustrated, all the people at the different partners and the sponsors, right? So United Airlines and Jack in the Box and Kaiser Permanente. We've got all the people that are in our different lists, that have used our app, that have bought something, that have gone to a playoffs game. I was just in a playoffs game, a week ago against Portland, right? People who are fans of our page. People who have watched any of our 10-second videos, right? Look at this. I can create custom audiences based on native engagement. You can do that. That's why you boost videos, because you might get follow-on coverage where they write about you and then you share that and you boost that. But you might also say anybody who's watched a video for X number of seconds, put them in a bucket and then remarket to them. So it's not just website remarketing. All of us should be pros at this. This is not a technical thing. This is really PR at the highest level. This is the best way to think about it. This is not about running ads for the sake of it, right? So how might I do that? So if I create a saved audience, which then I reuse as I'm going through the newsfeed to be able to boost a post, I'm going to come down here and go to, they make this thing, I don't know why they hide it. It's like the buffet at the casino. You always got to go through the casino until you get to where you want to go. So browse, demographics. Yeah, whenever you ask, where is this thing inside, when you're in Las Vegas, the answer is always through the casino and then make, so that's what they do. So you've got to go here into demographics, work, employers. Somebody name a company that you would like to incept, or someone in the media. Name a media company, magazine, newspaper, TV, somebody. Huffington Post, there's a lot of crap people contributing there. But, so I've got 4,645 people that work at the Huffington Post that have that listed in their workplace. Not people who like Huffington Post. That's someone I'd add. Something else.
Sydney Morning Herald?
Sydney Morning Herald. Sydney Swans, Sydney FC. So I've got 1,025 that work at the Sydney Morning Herald, and people can't seem to spell things properly. So it's based on what's in their profile, so you get things all misspelled. Now, one thing you don't want to put in here is Facebook. Why? Because you get a bunch of kids that say they work. You got 82 million people that say they work at Facebook. But if you narrow that down to Menlo Park, 24 plus, then you get down to 3,000 people, and that's exactly who you want to hit. And we'll speak at conferences, and the Facebook people will come up to me saying, Dennis, I saw what you did there. Right? I just stop it. I keep getting inundated with your targeting, right? So create one of these things, give it a name, and start doing this $1 a day thing, boosting video, $1 a day against video. So you can see Isaac's got these audiences. It does not take long to build these audiences, because once you start to add a couple of these things, they will start to suggest other things for you as well, suggestions, right? The Guardian, USA Today, BuzzFeed, right? And you just go click, 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 yes, 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 and pretty soon you got 100 of these. Don't go for giant audiences of 50 or 100,000. Inception's about tiny audiences, 20 people, 100 people, right? You're not trying to spend a ton of money. I don't care if you've raised your Series A and so-and-so's on your board. You want to be nimble. We're all startups, right? You're here. No boss is sending you here. This is your valuable Monday night. You're here because you want to grow your startup, and you're willing to sacrifice for that. And that's what this is. You've got to run lots and lots of these things. There's no guarantee you're going to get famous. But if you do this enough times, I like to say if you don't quit, you win. That's what I say every time I fail. If you don't quit, you win. Let's get up one more time. So look, initially we're boosting to try to get some engagement. We're testing on what videos are working, maybe organically, maybe against that actual audience. So here we got Cafe Mom, 100,000 views, let's see. Parents Magazine, obviously stuff like that. Here is Mike's video, and this one here has got 26 million views, right? Now what's really cool, here, I'm going to click on the stats against my boost, and then I'll click on the actual stats related to the underlying boost. This average view time's at 55 seconds. That is insane. That is a unicorn. When you have something like this, you go all in. Have you made a video that's gotten like this? Because when this happens, think about how many audiences you're going to stack against this one. You're going to stack this against all your investors, against the people who like your competitors, against the media, against whatever it is. And now you might be spending $10 a day because you've got a bunch of little audiences, minions, I like to call these little yellow things, that do your work for you at $1 a day. Think of Facebook ads not as like some machine AI, learning thing. Think of it as lots of little yellow capsule-shaped things that are doing your work for you, but they're dumb. You have to very specifically tell them what to do. And that's how I think about Facebook. And we do the same thing with services like Fancy Hands and Fiverr, right? I love Fiverr. We have Fiverr making all kinds of, like Uber or Airbnb, like all of these services where you have, the gig economy, people doing little things for you. I think of Facebook as like that. What are all the things that we can outsource to other people to make us look big, but only spend $1 a day? So if you look at the things where I am buying stuff, I'm in my account. I'm not doing PowerPoint, okay? So you can see, like these ones that are completed. Let's say you're meeting somebody important and you want to thrill them. Well, we can pay this guy $5 or $10 and he will actually design something in, here, I'll just do a .mp4. You'll hear or see. People will sing, they'll do all kinds, we'll send them a LinkedIn profile and then they'll turn it into a picture, like actually draw it and send it to us, but then we got to batch it up, like 10 of them from the Philippines, because we don't pay shipping on one thing at a time, right? Ice bucket challenge. I'll just play one of these random ones and you can hear it. Oh, this one sucked, but that's okay. You only spent $5. Like, listen, I wrote the script on this one.
GCT, goals, content, and targeting, is the triangle for business.
Anyway, if you don't want to be on video, you could have someone else do that, and then you just basically go through all the different people that are there, or let's find another one. There's all these random ones. Oh, there's so many in here. We'll have people do like speaker reels. We'll give them a list of YouTube videos.
For those of you that don't know Alex, I don't know how to say it.
We help other people become famous, which I think is funny, right? Because you got to practice what you preach. Like I'll show you. I'll do this. So entrepreneur, Forbes, Entrepreneur Inc., all these. It's easy to get in there, right? Huffington Post is really easy to manipulate the situation. 10 personal branding experts to follow this. You can't supposedly pay for this. Looks like you can't pay for links. I used to run analytics at Yahoo. Don't do that. 10 personal branding experts to follow this year. Oh, looks good. It's Entrepreneur. I wrote a lot of this article. And number 1 is Leonard Kim. I have admin on his page. Number 2 is me. Number 3, Cynthia. We're all in on this, okay? No, that's how it works, right? So when you go speak at a conference and you're on that conference list and you know the other speakers, the only reason I like to speak at conferences is not to generate leads or because I want to be famous or anything like that. It's because that gives you authority in terms of networking, because you are on par with all the other speakers. You can suck their brain for every question that you have without paying. It's great. That's why you speak at a conference. Oh, what session are you going to? Are you kidding? I got hit up the conference organizer at PubCon, he got mad at me when I spoke there last time. I think I had 2 or 3 sessions, and he said, Dennis, I didn't see you at any of the sessions. And I said, you didn't attend any sessions, did you? I said, no, I did. I attended 3, mine. Those are the ones I went to. So when you have these kinds of mentions like this, what you've got to do, and I know this is kind of a chore, but you've got to create a content library to store this. Do you have a minion, a young adult at the university, someone from the Philippines, I don't know, whatever, to manage these logins that you have? Not to write your articles, because that looks like garbage. Don't auto-spin stuff, not from SEO. Like, legitimately, write this kind of stuff, right? And we've got thousands of articles. I've written articles for the last 20 years. Back in my day, we used to. And then we've got these endorsements. The 8 tracks were this big. We had reel-to-reel. But when you catch these mentions, when someone's there monitoring these things, when you're using things like CrowdTangle, Mention.com, and Google Alerts, and Twitter searches on your name, and your company's name, and your founder's name, and your competitor's name, and all this kind of stuff, then you're able to collect these things. And that creates authority that you save over time, that you insert into articles, that you put as part of your public figure page, right? That's how this guy was able to go from nothing, from a page that we built 6 weeks ago, to this ridiculous celebrity, and now he's getting all sorts of free things because brands are trying to jump on it, right? So you can see of the 26 million views, what's really impressive is actually the 394,000 shares. That is impressive. And that's more shares than the 300,000 reactions. When you have more shares than reactions, you have a winner. Game over. And it doesn't matter how many times you strike out, you just need one of these. Because this drives authority. And once you have one thing in, think of the wheel, and there's the hub and the spokes. All you need is one spoke in when you're a startup. You just need one way in, that one sperm that makes it in and becomes the, 1 in a billion. Whatever. You just need one, right? Because once you have one, then all the other people see you have authority. Because then you're well known. Because then, Mark Cuban said you were, I don't know, whatever it is, you have that one thing, and that's all you need to be able to boost, right? Now, we have hundreds of them because we just keep doing these sorts of things, and we do it for complaining and this stuff, but you've got to keep this stuff in a library. So you want to always start with your best foot forward, and I'll show you what that looks like, and because everyone's going to look you up. You guys will probably come back and look me up and all this stuff. Oh, he's got a blue check mark. He must be famous. Oh, look, here's this cover profile. Somebody made this thing for me. They know I like chicken wings and ultimate frisbee, so they put that there. Then we talk about the $1 a day, so there's a picture of me, like, okay, you got me. You know the LifeLock thing where the guy says, you can't get your social security number stolen. His social security number is stolen every couple months, just because he puts it out there. Anyway. So, oh no, this is me as a person. Let me show you me as a public figure. One of the other things is that if you have a post that's on your user profile, maybe it's a year ago, you can keep commenting on that, by the way, and revive it, and the algorithm continues to notice that kind of stuff. So what I'll do is, I'll take the most authoritative picture I can find. Like this is me keynoting in front of a conference with 2,000 something people, right? Kind of scary if you've ever done that. You just have to fake it. And what you do is when you post that, you're going to boost it, right? And you can see it's got 2,100 likes on it. Well, that's because I boosted it, right? And then people see this. And even better, you take a video that has authority, you take an article that has authority, and then you boost it. Now, if you take a video that you boosted, and then you reuse that video in another post, it inherits all the social proof. So it says however many thousands of views that's on that, right? So people don't even know that you boosted it to get that kind of share. They think, wow, these guys must be really amazing. And we've done, so my buddy Brandon, he has his TED Talk. Look, this is his page. He put his blue check mark on his page. Facebook allows you to choose either your profile or your page. You can't have both. They recommend having it on your page. I like to have it on my profile, whatever. But he has dwarfism, and there are a lot of people that have disabilities. I won't say they're milking it, but they're able to get a lot of attention. No, this is great. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm friends with most of them because they come to me for help. Right, he's got his TED Talk, right? And I'll show you. Look, today and every day I ask of you, help spread the word. This is how, okay, and so it's got 100,000 views, but that's because we boosted it, right? But as far as anyone else knows, I'm logged in through Business Manager so you can see the stats. Average watch time, 23 seconds. That's a home run, right? And as a result, in the last couple months, because this thing was because TED does the thing as a YouTube, and YouTube doesn't go anywhere. It just gets like a couple hundred views, and that's too bad. But we uploaded it natively on Facebook. Then we started to boost it to all the conference organizers and all the places that he wanted to accept. And now he's gotten, I think, 13 to 15 more speaking engagements in the last 6 to 8 weeks, of which I think all of them are free. But that's okay. That's where you start, right? You want to be a motivational speaker. You got to somehow look big. So how do you do this? Oh, you got to caption it. Don't start with a bumper because people don't watch. It kills your watch time. All these kinds of things. What are the things that you can do to try to look big? Because you got to look big. I mean, you got to admit it with startups. You never, when people come up, how's business? Oh, it's going really well because I'm going to lie and make up all these optimistic things. Nobody says, oh man, my startup sucks. I didn't get any sleep. Man, I don't want to tell everyone that I can't make payroll and things are really tough because then my best customers will leave me. And I'm about to try to close this deal, but I'm actually not very confident, but I'm going to try to fake it. And my thing's not ready. And my co-founder and I are arguing, but I don't want to let anyone know. But you got to fake it. I'm kidding, of course. You've got to look good, right? So you have something like this, and when you boost it on the sites that appear to be authoritative, and it's different for every niche. I know the startups, for some reason, they like to talk to the VC people, but everyone, if you're doing it right, you've got a particular niche of people that you want to influence. Talking to other startup people isn't necessarily going to help you, because you need to talk to the actual customers, the people that are going to give you money. Now, here's influences. So we're talking about all these, the influencer marketing, Huffington Post, all this kind of stuff. And you can see that this one has got 7,100 shares on it. This is one of the top articles on influences. I would say it's actually a decent article I wrote, Why You Must Hope for the Best, but Prepare for the Worst. And it says, hey, you know, give people the chance, but make sure you got process there to back it up. It doesn't even matter what the topic is, right? And you see articles that are, look, here's Grant Cardone. He just wrote this one or whatever, 829 shares. All these other people, none of them up are in the thousands. So when people see this, and by the way, when the share count is high, you're more likely to show up on the right side where it says top articles, top videos, top whatever it is, right? You do it by boosting the posts because those likes, comments, and shares on Facebook get counted by these toolbars. Isn't that cool? Looks good. And then when you're here on Twitter, like if you look at me on Twitter, dude, this is a magician showing you all his tricks. Like, I'm not supposed to show you these things. But, right, I've got my blue check mark. You can apply for that, by the way. It's not that hard to get. You just have to have a certain number of things in place, like authority. And when you apply for a Facebook blue check mark, you want to always target all the people that work at Facebook so they're more likely to see you and approve you next time you apply. So I take a high authority tweet. So this is speaking at social media marketing world. And Serena was there. We saw her in San Diego a month ago. And you can see this has got tons of likes, comments, and shares on it. Why? Because I'm boosting it through ads. No one knows that, right? And it's the first thing. I pinned it. I pin whatever the thing is that I want people to see first. I pin that thing up on the top. How much do Facebook ads cost? I pin this. Of course I'm boosting it. Got a bunch of likes, shares, and comments. And if I've targeted the right community, then the friends of, like, you know, Marcus will see this. And if Marcus has pull here, then the freelancer and warrior folks are going to see this, right? And they're like, oh, wow, Marcus liked this. Marcus commented, right? And I need to store that stuff. And maybe I like to keep these things, but I also like to use search. That's the best way I find these things. Okay, here's Robert Scoble, right? And he wrote this thing a month ago. I see this article, blah, 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 blah. And he's basically calling out Ryan as being a fraud for saying that social media managers are not CMOs, dude. He's just self-serving, okay? And he says, I'd rather have someone like Dennis Yu as my CMO because he knows how to do all this kind of stuff and, you know, on and on, right? That's great. But he said that. I can't say that. It's way better when he says that. So what do? I take this and I share it from my page so that I can boost it to all the fans of Robert Scoble. You know how many friend requests I've gotten as a result of doing that? So think about all the events that you go to, like this, where there's networking before and after, and all the random people that you meet that may or may not be good. You don't know. You don't want to introduce yourself and every time say what you do over and over again. It's like Groundhog Day or whatever, Sisyphus rolling the stone, any kind of repeat torture. You insert your favorite one. Think about where they come to you. How do you make it so they come to you? You've got to establish authority. Right? So you have the meetings with the people that you want, so you don't waste your time. Don't pitch your mom. Don't pitch these random people that are, they can't give you advice. They can support you, but, you know, don't waste your time. Until you've got so much money, you can just fool around and do things like this, right? And then comment. Keep this stuff inside your content library, and the work is being done for you because you're letting Facebook's minions do the work for you. Some people say, oh, I suck at video, I'm not very good at this, I don't have money. There's all these different excuses. So let's look at some other examples. Our guy who runs training, his name's Logan Young. He's now on that Sydney Harbor cruise, which I could have been at, but I wanted to hang out with you guys instead. So here he's speaking at Social Media Marketing World, and you guys may have seen 2 weeks ago, not even, see, there we were at the Raiders. See, that's authority, right? You pin this thing. Oh, look, it was published by me. So you can see that, don't look behind the curtain. So you can see that like, let's say that's not a good one. Where's the one I want to show? Oh, you want a bunch of reviews too. This is great. All right. So he got bit by a dog that ran by a pit bull that this other owner hid and ran into his apartment. And so we posted on that saying, look, the police didn't want to do anything. In any other country or state, they would have put the dog down if the owner was, you know, clearly, the thing attacked you in your own residence, right? But they didn't do anything. So what we did was we posted from his public figure page, and we targeted all the people that love pit bulls. Why is that? That's exactly the people you don't want, right? But these people they love pit bulls so much. When you see these posts, they're saying, oh, it could never be, it was always your fault, clearly, because these pit bulls are harmless and all this. Because this attracted the people that we actually did want. Inception is playing chess multiple levels ahead, right? So sometimes you might have a post and you'll double boost it to extreme opposites because you want to get them to come in and argue and generate engagement, and then the algorithm notices this kind of thing, right? And I can't find the one that I want, but anyway. So then we got him covered on the news a week ago. The TV cameras came, right? And he was the top story on the TV news, which is kind of cool. And here it is, and you can see they play a 15-second commercial, which is unfortunate. I'll just mute that out while they're doing that. Oh, 30 seconds. We'll talk about something else while this is loading. But then you take this video, you upload it natively, just like the YouTube one from the TED Talk, and then you boost it out, and then that gives you follow-on power. It would be a real shame for you to get some kind of mention that you don't even see, or that you're not able to continue to extract power, which is what we call amplification, right? Which is phase 5 of the 6 phases that you have in your hand. But look at this. Anytime you've got something good like this that's happening, think about how you can get power out of it.
This next story is anyone's nightmare. A neighbor's dog running into your home, biting you, and then attacking your dog.
The beginning of the frightening scene, of course, captured on doorbell video.
See, that's why you want video.
Special Sam Penrod is live.
Can you hear that?
It all went down in Orem tonight. Sam?
Dave and Deanie, it all happened very fast here at this apartment complex yesterday morning. A man went to the hospital with a serious bite to his hand. His dog had to go to the vet, and the dog that attacked is in the shelter tonight and may be put down.
I was just leaving to go to church.
But Logan Young wasn't ready for what happened as he left his apartment yesterday morning.
Just opened the door. Dog's right there. I tried to stop it. It bites me. Bolts into the living room.
Video shows the boxer get away from a boy who can be seen chasing his dog with a leash. You can hear the commotion inside.
I mean, it's the most unexpected thing you can think of. Just open the door.
So milk the media. Because the media, when you have, I'll just give you a couple random examples. Journalists are there, like these beat journalists, these reporters, they have to come out with their 2 or 3 articles every week. They have to drive to a new place and turn the TV camera on. If it bleeds, it leads. And they don't necessarily know anything about your particular topic, about your expertise. So what you want to do is be that authoritative expert. So this is the LA Times, big newspaper in LA. And they're writing an article about, is Hollywood embracing Facebook? Well, according to Sony, they say this, and Walmart says, yeah, well, we promote stuff, but it actually doesn't. When something goes to the theater, it doesn't necessarily drive sales later on DVD, right? And Fox says, well, we're not really sure, but you can't not be on Facebook. And then Fred Leach, who I call Fred Reach, he doesn't like that, says, oh, you need to measure everything, and social media is amazing, of course, right? And then I come in and say that, where's my thing? I come in and say something. Yeah, I say, the days of free traffic are over, blah, 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 and then we have all this other and they reached out to us, right? The LA Times reached out to us. Why? Because they saw that we were in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and all these other places. Why? Because we boosted those articles to people that work at the LA Times. You see how this thing continues to build? All you need is one piece of authority. Logan here, this happened a week ago, right? We take this thing. Remember, we initially wrote this post on his page, targeted the people that work at KSL and TV stations. They came saying, wow, this is an amazing story. We need to cover it, blah, blah, blah. He's on the radio too. All these people that know him, like I think his mom called and said, oh, Logan, I saw you on TV. I'm like, yeah, only people that are over 40 are going to notice this sort of thing, watch TV. No, all these people saw this, right? But then we take that. Now all of a sudden, we have an article that's on a high authority site, and we want to be able to boost it. And what do? We can switch that boost. So initially, we can target the people that, I switched it to people that live in Utah now, because it's, anyway, there's a whole other story around that one. But originally, I was targeting all the people that love pit bulls to generate tons and tons of engagement. The engagement rate on this was 71%. Not a typo. That means out of 100 people, 71% of them clicked on something. Most click-through rates are like 1%, 71%, right? You're not going to get higher than that. And that sent a really high signal to Facebook. to be able to, wow, this thing continues to, should deserve more distribution, right? And then we targeted the media. Once that thing built up to 5,000 or 10,000 views, and then we just let it run to everybody, right? And then we'll take this thing and then push it to all the places he's going to be at, push it to people that work at Facebook or follow Social Media Examiner or any of these kinds of things, even though it's not topically related, because it shows proof, because it's a great first touch to show that you have authority. Now, how does that work for something completely different? Let's say a professional sports team. So this is the Golden State Warriors. First game's tomorrow against the Utah Jazz. And you can see we've got tons and tons of posts. Tickets for the Warriors-Jazz second round series are available now. There's a link on Ticketmaster. And then we can promote this to any of the audiences that we've set up, right? So if I boost this post, I'm not the one boosting, but I'll just pretend, then I can target all the people that, why is this thing not showing up? Oh, because I think it's already defined. Oh, that's why it's already predefined. I'll choose another one. Let me choose a video. Actually, I'll shoot. You know what? I'm going to come here to Insights. I like to boost from Insights, by the way. When I do optimization, initially I'll boost by looking at the timeline, which is what you should do. But if you have posts that you've been boosting along the way, then the most recent ones they'll keep here. So it's kind of a nice where Facebook keeps this list for you. And if I look at these posts that we've been boosting, some of these, look, this one spent $100 and got 600,000 engagements. You do the math, it's pretty good, right? Some of them will spend $50 and get 1 million views. And maybe they're, I don't know, basketball's a big enough topic, but then I can use that social proof. I can reuse that video from the video library and share it in another post. I can make highlight videos out of this, right? I can take any of these particular videos. Here's 1.8 million views. Let's see if we can find something that's more. I think Steph Curry and Obama, that thing was up at 10 million views. And a lot of people, when I do this, they say, oh, it's not fair because we're not the Golden State Warriors, we're something else. I said, but you can still, you don't have to drive the level of revenue that these guys are driving. You don't have to win the NBA Finals. But what you got to do is find some kind of hit, right? And when you find that hit, you're going to boost it. You can take any one of these random ones, right? And I want to see, is this thing winning or not? 21-second average watch time. Yes, the longer the video, the longer the average watch time. But you can see the fall off. You can see Minnesota versus Golden State. Maybe I'm going to target Minnesota. Actually, they're already knocked out. You know, what might I do? I can build remarketing audiences against this. You want to think about all the different things that you can do with video. All right? So let's talk about this thing here. We made Facebook hacking for startups. 6 phases. And here's some tips. But you still want to follow these 6 phases. They are sequential. You don't have to do every single one, but you do need to do something in each of these buckets, and I'll explain why. Plumbing is to connect everything that you have together. All of your pixels, all of your audiences, your email audiences, because you're going to cycle audiences between the website and your app and email and Google to Facebook and Facebook to Google. To any one of these audiences you're going to be able to cross. That is what defines the funnel. And your funnel includes other people's websites, other people's tweets, not just your stuff. Think about Inception as you are amplifying, you're spending money to amplify what other people are saying. So when we get that LA Times article, we're spending money to send traffic to the LA Times. And other people say, why would you do that? Because it has the most authority. What do you think has more authority? Blitzmetrics.com? Or maybe something like, let's see. Let's say that our goal was, our goal is to get more professional sports teams. We had plenty, but we wanted another one. What do you think has more authority? This case study on Facebook's blog on how the Warriors made all this money, 29x ROAS, and then it links to us, not for SEO purposes, but so that then it can go to our guide that explains how we did something. The way you get around marketing and advertising and shameless self-promotion is you make it look like education. Make it actually education. I am kidding. And you do that by, some people, they actually write that down. Like, don't write that down. You share, and how do you, what's the difference? Because a lot of people, they think their stuff doesn't stink. You show step by step how you do something. So this is how the Warriors drive revenue using Facebook ads, step by step. How do we name the ads? How do we organize the content? How do we set up the campaigns? How do we report on things? How do we adjust? How do we store the stuff inside, Box or Dropbox? How do we have UTM parameters and like all these kinds of details? We publish. Oh, but these are your secrets. If you tell other people, then they won't want to hire you guys. No, actually, then they realize, oh shit, this is actually kind of complicated. So that's what you have to do. When you publish things like this, you have authority, and there's a lot of people that you don't want to spend time to try to educate unless they're paying you, right? So just put it out there. The stuff we're showing you right now, that guide that you have there, we're putting it out there because we want you to go through it. We want you to come back later in a couple weeks and say, you know what? I made a series of 1-minute videos. I boosted it for $1 a day. I collected dimensions into my content library. I reshared that and boosted those. I took the customer feedback that I got and I incorporated that in my marketing materials all across the board. I used that at conferences that I have. I used that to improve my process. I used it to, right? I want to hear that, right? We're not competing against you guys. None of us are competing against one another. We're all telling stories. So what do you think has more authority? This kind of stuff that's on... If you're a sports team and you want to try to get your social media going properly instead of just like whatever, the owner says you've got to demonstrate. They say, oh, look at what the Warriors are doing, right? What do you think has more authority? This from Facebook or what one overweight Chinese guy has to say, right? What has more authority? So I'm going to boost someone else's content, not on my website. There's nothing. If you go to blitzmetrics.com, there's like nothing there. I went to Blitzmetrics and I thought there was going to be all this stuff there. I couldn't find anything. Exactly. Inception. I'm 3 steps ahead of you. Plumbing. All this tracking, all the pixels and tags and stuff like that. Goals. You've probably got, if you've raised a little bit of money, even angel money, you've got to show some kind of sales ramp. You've got to show that something's going up. Engagement's going up, you're getting more mentions, your email lists, your revenues, I don't know, whatever you're selling. Something's got to be going up, okay? Preferably something that has money attached to it. If your plumbing's set up properly, you'll find it works. You'll find that when you boost Facebook video, it shows up in terms of more people will find you, they'll contact you, they'll want to meet, they'll search for your name inside Google. There's all these other things. They'll come up to you, whatever, right? And I tell Facebook they should pay us to say that. We speak at all these conferences instead of Facebook, which is funny. Or sometimes Facebook will be there and we'll be on a panel, and then they'll look to us to answer the question, which I think is hilarious. Then you need content that you organize, right? But without goals, you can't have content because goals define stages in the funnel. Awareness, engagement, conversion, top, middle, bottom of the funnel, right? Content at each of these different stages that you sequence people through. So maybe they have a 1-minute video that is your why statement. This is why I started a business. If you're a founder, then you can't not have a why video. What's a why video? It's a 1-minute video. It could be 2. It takes a while. It's your elevator pitch. No, it's not. But it's better than that, right? Because it has 3 segments. Oops, this is the wrong one. /why. We put other people's figureheads. It sells better than putting me. I like to think I was young and attractive 20 years ago. So you have these three parts. When I was 19, I had this problem, and as a result, this whole thing happened, and now I created a company around it, like the Kickstarter kind of format, right? So that's what you do. When I was, which goes immediately into your story. You don't say, oh, hi, I'm Cheryl, and this other stuff. You say because you go immediately to the story. They don't care what your name is or whatever it is, right? And then as a result of this story, you say, I believe that. I believe that, whatever it is that eventually leads into your product, and therefore, this is what I do, right? I started this company, this is what we sell, these are our people, this is really meaningful to me, right? And tons of examples of people that are doing this kind of thing. You should do that. Have a professional videographer do it, right? That's your content. And you interview other people as a journalist, and then you boost to their audience, and they say thank you and all this. Targeting. A lot of people spend time messing around inside Facebook. Here is a list of all of the external targets that are available on Facebook. You don't have this. I do. And it shows, and a lot of it you can't get in Australia. I've got even the particular brand of laundry detergent that they bought from the point of sale that's matched back to Facebook. Well, I didn't like that on Facebook. Yes, but you're not using cash, and if you're not using cash, I've got you matched back. Sorry. Yeah, you want to sign up for that supermarket program to get 5 things of Coca-Cola for $5? Guess what? As part of that loyalty program, as part of the airline miles, that is all being matched back to Facebook. Forget about your tinfoil hat. You lost your privacy 10 years ago. Okay? All the stuff is here. That they bought a particular brand of pantyhose or nylon, that they have Mardi Gras paper napkins. That's the kind. Versus this other Bounty, Brawny, whatever, right? All this stuff is being matched back. You're using the Messenger app. Facebook knows where you are. You know what? Google's listening too, so it doesn't even matter, right? Don't even try to pretend one's worse than the other. They all are collecting this data. Yeah, they are. That's where this AI, Alexa, she's listening, right? Siri's listening. When Apple announces their new stuff, the new iPhone, they're going to talk about some AI, some crazy AI stuff. You wait. You didn't hear me say that. So think about what has to happen in terms of going through these phases. Plumbing, goals, content, targeting. Goals, content, and targeting is your strategy. People say the word strategy. Nobody can. I ask this question all the time. Nobody can define to me what strategy is. They make this nebulous, important thing, a strategy. No, it's your unique combination of goals, content, and targeting. Right? So it's the way Facebook and Google, they organize their algorithm on what shows up. You have something like an evaluator that's quality score, relevance score, or the algorithm determining what content shows up to what users, right? Ads are the same thing too. Same algorithm. Lookalike, collaborative filtering, all the things that are part of the auction. If you have those first four in place, then you can move to amplification, which is making something good better. That's the idea of dollar a day. That's testing. That's saying thank you. Right? That's doing things that initially don't scale, but then do scale when you delegate off to other people and you got a process that other people can follow, so you as a founder don't have to do everything because you're always constrained because you can't do everything, but you got to try to pretend that you're everywhere, right? A lot of the people in San Francisco at Google and Facebook, they think that I live in San Francisco because I know the restaurants, I know what's going on, I know the public transit system, and the folks in New York and London also think that I live there too because I'm there so often. Oh, I just saw you in San Francisco yesterday. Yeah, I know. I was there a couple days ago. I'm going to be in London in 4 days, in Portugal, and Amsterdam, and Phoenix, and New York, and all in the next 2 weeks. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm telling you this is what it takes to hustle as a founder, right? I'm not just telling you in some PowerPoint kind of way, right? I'm showing you. So think about what you've got to do to be able to tell your story in the most effective way. And we say the 1-minute video is the best vehicle right now. I don't see that going away anytime soon because it's kind of hard to game and you've got to build social proof. There are ways to game that. You can break down these 6 phases into 3 other phases that we call setup, strategy, and scale. Setup is plumbing. I like to use the alliteration. It's kind of cool. Most executives like to use 3s. Strategy is your goals, content, and targeting. And then you can scale. One of the cool things is that you can take a particular post. Let's say you're driving leads, because everyone's driving leads, even if you're B2C. And if I go to my page, it could be any of them, I'll go to this one, and I post, I can actually drive a call directly. I can drive messages directly, RSVPs, purchases directly with Stripe integration and all this kind of stuff. See, I can post as the Warriors. I'm not going to do that because they get mad. And I can say, create an offer, get phone calls, get messages. There's tools like ManyChat and what have you that will, then there's inbound services you can pay like $20, $30 a month for someone to answer the phone for you and take messages, these kinds of things, right? And I can drive people directly, organically, native actions, straight off of the post, and then I boost it to the audiences that I have saved. Right? Then I set up sequences where anyone who's seen this first video, and then I'll then drive them to this other thing. And now I've got if-then. So it's just like an autoresponder, except it never left Facebook natively. Beautiful. Almost nobody's doing this. I've preached about this for months. I've told people that this was coming several years ago. I feel like Noah with the ark and no one listened and they all drowned. It's their fault. I told you, we have meetings with Facebook every week. We know what's going on. We know what they're building. They ask us. That's how we know. They ask us and we tell them. And then I try to ask questions too, just to try to pry a little bit, right? And then I can share that with you guys. Okay. So let me talk about boosting. When you boost a post, most people, they boost the post on Facebook and then they just leave it alone. They never created saved target audiences. They never had a strategy, meaning the combination of goals, content, and targeting makes sequences, right? You've got to be able to adjust. And I was showing you how we would switch the audience depending on whatever's going on, depending on what we learned. Because maybe a piece of content didn't perform because we were going after the wrong audience. Maybe it actually would have been great content. Maybe the content sucked and no audience would have worked, right? It's always content or targeting, right? And then we see what's working and we continue to optimize against it. If we find something that's working, we call that a unicorn, like really working. We call that a unicorn. And then we create unicorn children, which is derivation, similar content. Like Isaac, who got famous, now he's creating, his initial thing was, his 9-year-old son getting bullied. Now he's created other things around parenting and caring for your kids and interviewing other people, and right? Think about all those different clusters that you can make around that. And then you start to stack up these different posts that are each spending $1 a day. Pretty soon you got 5 or 6 of them that are all spending $1 a day. $1 a day is the minimum that you can spend, right? Then you move over into Twitter. You can boost on Twitter, but their system's really kind of dumb. So you end up having to force bid the thing low and then multiplying your ad sets over and over and over again because the system isn't smart enough to know that you're just trying to cheat the system, right? Then you build your stuff into some kind of conceptual framework where all of the different articles and videos assemble into a topic. The topic could be personal branding. It could be the problem that you solve. It could be who you are as a person. It could be a particular vertical that you serve. It could be something, right? Think about what that looks like. And when you make your video, there's 4 components of this 1-minute video. Most people, the reason why they're at 6 seconds is because they reuse TV commercials or they say, hi, my name is so-and-so. You've lost it. You've got to immediately get their attention, some kind of motion, some kind of hook in the first 3 seconds. And then when you ignite pain or pleasure, what is it that causes that, that helps them identify, like this person's worth listening to? Then you describe what you do and have a call to action. That's the formula. This formula works. Done it thousands of times. You keep it in your video library. You boost it. You make variations of it. You have VAs do this stuff for you, right? Then you know if it's working or not based on these thresholds I told you earlier. Video is where it's at. Why? It's not a fad, because that's what's always worked in face-to-face when you close a deal. Things that don't scale. Yeah, they actually do scale once you figure out what's working, because then you're replicating what would happen if you were sitting down with somebody. If you could clone 1 million of you to be able to sit down with all these customers at no additional cost, what would you have them say? What would you program that bot to say? Because that's what you're doing here on Facebook. Except they don't have the tools to allow you to set up that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit ugly, but if it were that easy, then the traffic would be really expensive and it'd be mature like Google or something like that, right? But be thankful that people don't know what they're doing, because that's just less traffic more traffic for the rest of us, because these other people are like, oh, Facebook doesn't work. Please keep saying that. Thank you. Stay away from this. I don't want you competing against the traffic. This is going to be our traffic, right? And then keep these combinations of saved targets, of these influencers, of people that work in the industry, of people that work in the media, not just people that work at the Sydney Herald. I mean, fine, put that in one general media target, but create multiple of these targets that you can reuse. What else do I want to show you? We could go on and on, but I think we're almost out of time. Want to do some Q&A? Yeah? All right.
Q&A. Oh, wow, there we go. Okay, so I have what's called a catch box here. I may or may not, or someone else may or may not throw it at you. It's meant to be thrown. When you're ready to ask your question, just put your hand up and hold it about here, okay?
Hi, Frederick. How you doing? Very interesting. A couple of facts that I missed. The browser plugin that does what is that called?
CrowdTangle.
CrowdTangle?
Yep.
And
there's many of them. Don't even worry about it. That's just one I was showing off.
Okay. The other one is the content library. Where is that?
That's something that you have to build. It's just a Google Doc. It has multiple sections. So in your content, actually, there's one thing I didn't mention that I think you guys need to know about building a content library. Because a lot of people, they just blog, which is random content. What's the point of that? If you've got a content library, actually, let me show you this. So remember we said that authority is based on having maximum, like high-power content by high-power people on high-authority sites, right, properties. So in the case of the Warriors, here's proof of how they made money, step by step, said by Facebook, on Facebook.com, like by Facebook people, right? So 10 out of 10, like 30 points maximum. Well, one piece of content is good, but you want to have everything sequenced together, so you have 3 stages in the funnel. And to do that, you have to first tie together your plumbing of all the things related to you. As a founder, by definition, you're a personal brand. There's no avoiding that. Other key employees or whatever, they need to create personal brands. The sum of those personal brands rolls up to the company brand. Now, here's the part you need to listen to. When you practice Inception, and you've got these 1-minute stories, and you think like a journalist because you're interviewing other people about a particular topic, not about you. They may talk about you, which is great, but they don't need to for this strategy to work. You've got these things on the outside, these different people that are high authority, and you're asking them questions, but the questions are leading questions because you already know what they're going to say. You already follow them. You already know what the topics are. When you take these 1-minute videos and you boost their audience, people's natural inclination for praise and ego stroking, like the bigger they are, the more susceptible they are to this strategy, right? Who isn't? You name the person, I can tell you it works. And so you organize these into topics. Topics are the middle ring there, and then the topics go into what you actually sell, your product, right? So you have the why that's encapsulated by all the people on the outside. You have the how, which are the topics. Like multiple different things fits into because a topic's how do you get something done, and here's different angles and different ways of looking at it. And then as a result of that, the answer is your product or solution, right? So you need to map out your topic wheel. That is your content library. Most people treat a content library as, well, May is this, it's this month. June we're going to talk about 4th of July stuff. That's not what counts. What you need is evergreen content that's driven by sequences. You take any one of these topics. For example, one of the things that we care about is creating jobs for young adults. Our training is completely free for young adults. And as a result, they come through our system, they go through, there's 9 levels, and they earn badges, and they're able to work on pro sports teams, lead gen, startups, local restaurants, whatever, that kind of thing, right? So we have figureheads for each of these that talk about this, and they have articles and videos that then cause other people to want to come in and participate because we boost that to the media, we boost that to the local high schools or wherever they have influence, we boost it to conferences that we're speaking at, and that drives people in because we do lead gen, just like we're doing here. We hope to get your email address at some point. We're not going to sell you anything, I'm just kidding. But we do want your email address. And then that will, but we don't want your money. And that will, you're creating converts that believe in what you care about, right? So when you have this structure in place, this is your content strategy, then you can do, see, I'm not too good at all tabbing. Then you have a library where, I'll just show you the tabs that we have. There's publications that you can have WordPress logins on, right? HuffPo, they'll give you a WordPress login. You guys know what WordPress is. And then you have things where here's topics that you want made. It could be 1-minute videos, could be articles. You've got mentions, you've got different kinds of endorsements of different things that you have. There's all these different things that you might put together, right? We track, here's one, this is a fun one, Dennis Yu and Friends. So here's pictures of me with these other people, and you can see we keep links. Do you think I'm maintaining the spreadsheet? Heck no, right? Someone else is doing it. Oh, and I'll show you one other thing. So, here's me and Jay Bear. Well, good for that, good for him, right? And I say, I'm Bear, his name's Bear. I'm barely able to contain my excitement. And I remember he told me something like he really likes gummy bears. So then what I did was I went to Amazon.com and I picked out gummy bears, not the sugar-free ones. You guys have seen that. And I used Amazon Prime, and it cost me all of, $5. Here's $10.51 for a 5-pound bag of gummy bears that I can then personalize with a gift. I can add to the cart and say, Jay, I can barely tell you how awesome it was to see you last week. And I've done this before where we'll meet with somebody, and then if they're in New York City, you can have that thing delivered in 4 hours for $2 or whatever it is, right? Or the next day, this thing will show up, and it'll say, wow, and they're thinking, we just talked yesterday afternoon, and now this thing shows up. So the delight that comes is amazing, right? So this is an example of client love and delight where when you use traditional things, people think in this digital age, it's all about apps and stuff like that. I'm super old-fashioned. I believe in ways of igniting these relationships by manipulating the media and by sending gifts, but doing it at scale, right? So people don't, they feel like they're getting, and they're getting love, right? Sorry, question, who's got the ball?
Hey Dennis, thanks for coming to Australia and sharing all of your knowledge. There's certainly a lot of it. I'm Sam from Catapult Business Accelerator. You've told us a lot of amazing things we can do here, and I see everyone's writing lots and lots of notes, and there's some handouts sort of going around. Is there any chance you could share with us maybe a couple of minutes about what not to do? Sometimes
don't hire, what not to do. Don't hire a PR agency. Don't not create a personal brand. Don't say you're too busy. don't be afraid of the camera. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. What else not to do? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm telling you what. Isn't it better to say what to do versus not to do? Yeah, just the main thing is don't outsource it to someone else because they will screw it up. A lot of founders we see, especially when they raise money, they hire a PR firm or an agency. Don't do anything that isn't part of your core competency, right? Unless your thing is like building websites or whatever. I find that technology is just sort of an average layer that are, accounting, administration, all those things are just things that you need to take care of, but it's not your specialty. Overinvest in the things that you kick ass in, your story, your differentiator. Underinvest in everything else.
Hey, over here on the road, over here. So you spoke a lot about Facebook ads and then very quickly brushed over Twitter and said that it was messy. Can you unpack that a bit and how are you running Twitter campaigns to make them effective?
Twitter is the Bing of social media.
Yeah.
And so burn, I know. So when you come here to Twitter ads, and LinkedIn is like that too. LinkedIn, you can do the workplace targeting, but you have a $10 a day minimum budget, some other things here. So here, I'll show you what's, let's see where I want to switch to. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but when you use Twitter ads, never run any of their ad formats. Always boost posts, which is a promoted post, and then bid that thing down to 4 cents per engagement. Never take their suggested bid. They'll say like, oh, you should bid $1. No, I'm going to bid 4 cents. Oh, you might not get any traffic. Just bid it down and have super narrow targets, like hashtags of competitors. Or if there's a keyword or hashtag from a conference that you're going to be at, look at last year's data. And that same data is going to come back of all the attendees. So I put those guys into a tailored audience, which is a custom audience. You can do a website custom audience, which is web remarketing and email remarketing on Twitter, but just know it doesn't work as well. So do it, right? Twitter's the Bing of social. But use Facebook to lead, unless you're some like hardcore niche B2B HR kind of thing, then do LinkedIn. Or you need to appear that you're doing really well in media and entertainment, because those people think that Twitter's everything. They don't realize that it's like 1%. Facebook's literally 100 times bigger than Twitter.
Hello. Hi. So you mentioned that 1-minute videos was the most effective way of doing it. So would you recommend any other type of posts, like, I don't know, like pictures, blogs, or anything like that?
Yeah. So there's something called a quote card. And that's when you take a picture and you overlay some text on top of it. Something inspirational, right? That usually works well. Often a link post will work well. Where actually, if you want to see what Facebook has, and it doesn't have to be necessarily for advertising, but I like to say, or somebody said that not advertising on Facebook is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know it, but she doesn't, right? There's no point. No one's going to see it, right? So there's different posts that are actually tied to the business objective. So organically, you can choose which of these things that you want to have. You want people to buy, you want people to sign up, you want people, like my favorite's the Facebook lead ad. It's fantastic. You can collect an email address, you can ask a series of questions, you can do all this kind of stuff, and then you could one-click OAuth it, connect with your MailChimp, these other systems, right? So it depends on your objective. So we like to have at least 3 of awareness, engagement, and conversion, right? You guys having fun?
Yes.
I'll stay around and answer all the questions. I know you
I think we might wrap it up there since it is exactly 8 o'clock, and we appreciate the time that you've spent with us. So again, thank you everyone for coming. Let's give Dennis a big round of applause.